June 1st. June 1st. What a day. God damn it. Today is June 1st. June 1st. This is a day that we celebrate homing pigeons. This is a day that we celebrate the Heimlich maneuver. Max Stern, a scientist who came up with the effective, safe, and responsible vaccine against anthrax. He was born in 1905. Not to mention Marilyn Monroe. She was born National Tree Planting Day in Cambodia, so lots of trees are being born in Cambodia. Also, World Milk Day, Victory Day, Tunisia, President's Day, Palau, So June 1st. Today is actually May 30th, so it's right around the corner, right? May 30th, 2020, Saturday. And so, therefore, it's on Monday. June 1st is on a Monday. Oh, sounds like you got a case of the Mondays, huh? So, June 1st, it celebrates the Heimlich maneuver, homing pigeons, Max Stern's anthrax vaccine, planting trees, Marilyn Monroe's birthday. Also, archaeology, biology, deposing tyrants in ancient Rome in 193 AD, and then Beijing, 1215 AD, Nepal, 2001 AD, Romania, 1946 AD, so deposing tyrants all over the place. You know, Romania, Nepal, Beijing, ancient Rome. June 1st celebrates titanium and rock wool. You can actually make wool out of rocks. Did you know that? Also, Napoleon Bonaparte. The end of his bloodlines, the last of the Bonaparte bloodlines, it's over. So the, scourge of the disease, the cancer that is Napoleonism, eventually, since there's no more bloodlines, you would think. The ideas, the person, I don't take no stock like Huck Finn. I don't take no stock in dead people. Moses and the bull rushers. It sounded all exciting until you told me he was dead. Goddamn 14,000 years ago. So the Protestant Reformation, June 1st, we're celebrating a lot of things. We're celebrating the Protestant Reformation, getting rid of the Napoleon Bonaparte bloodlines, euthanasia, redcoats finally withdrawing out of the United States 7 years into George Washington's presidency. 13 years after the Treaty of Paris ended the American Revolutionary War, the British redcoats finally got out of America after signing a pre-peace treaty and all this other shit. Basically kept one hand up our asses, but the regulars withdrew, including out of Canada, but there was the Queen's Rangers and some other locally grown royalist armies. So, yeah, they withdrew out of America, still around in Canada, all over the place. So, okay, fantastic. Also, there's a brand new bridge, a brand new viaduct. These were constructed, started, ended, dedicated June 1st. A new kind of light and battery was developed. Light. We got a new kind of light bulb, a new kind of battery. We need to think about these batteries, especially if we want to make solar power, sustainable. Many states. Now, if you're a status, this is terrible, but how are you going to ignore that Tennessee and Kentucky and Kenya are going to last forever? So you had many states that formed today. So either they formed a republic, they had a Declaration of Independence, or they joined the United States of America. Tennessee is going to join the United States of America 1796. Now Tennessee is going to be immortal forever and ever. You're going to have that nation state. Kentucky, 1792. Kentucky was the 15th state, so Kentucky beat Tennessee, which really, Kentucky is more superior to Tennessee in so many ways. But Kenya, 1963, and Samoa, Virgin Islands, and Rhodesia, and the Russian anti-government Minnesota Territory, all these things started June 1st. Minnesota Territory officially established June 1st, 1849. The Russian anti-government, I need to research that farther because if something makes you research more, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So the Russian anti-government is like the anti-king. What's an anti-king? Oh, I'm running to be the anti-king. So you're against it? Are you the king? No, I'm not the king. I'm the anti-king. Oh, so you're the revolutionary. That's right. That's right. Russian anti-government, 1608. Could be the revolutionary or the anti-revolutionary reactionaries. Rhodesia, I think it's called another name, but in 1979 it goes all black. So finally, Rhodesia is all black anyways, but finally it went all black. So the black folks of Rhodesia got their country back. So that was all about, Malcolm X and a lot of the black separatists, black nationalist separatists. There's a lot of black nations out here. So anyways, Virgin Islands, 1977, they go ahead and establish themselves a constitution. Samoa, 1962, declare their independence from New Zealand. Samoa, is that American Samoa? Does that mean they declared their independence from New Zealand and then voluntarily became? Is Samoa another thing? I don't know, but I know that all these things happen at the same time, right? June 1st, Minnesota Territory, Russian anti-government, Rhodesia, Virgin Islands, 1977 Constitution, Samoa, 1962 independence from New Zealand, Kenya, 1963 independence and republic. So Kenya, Kentucky, Tennessee, Rhodesia, Samoa, Virgin Islands, Russia, Minnesota Territory, the Russian anti-government, I should say. That was back when they had the, kings and queens, the Russian anti-government. The Philippines, there's a battle, 1649 AD, against the Spanish Entrada Conquistadors. So it's Pancho Villa. Pancho Villa is going to be born in a couple days. But Pancho Villa is like, in the middle, he's a brown, revolutionary, I think Mexican revolutionary, but he is also big Spanish. He's, run around with all the clothing of the white Spaniards, and the conquistadors, the people that had conquered his people. That's the clothing and tongue that he speaks now. So let's see. Woody Harrelson was arrested in Lee County, Kentucky after he symbolically planted 4 hemp seeds to challenge the state law which did not distinguish between industrial hemp and marijuana. You also had the Roundhead parliamentarians defeat the Royalist Cavaliers in the Battle of Maidstone in the Second English Civil War, 1648. The Battle of Maidstone. What does that mean? The Roundheads, terrible nickname, right? Defeat the Royalists, which is, fuck the Royalists, but they called themselves the Cavaliers. Well, shit, that sounds badass. I would rather be a Cavalier than a Roundhead, but the Roundheads are actually the good people in the Second English War. The Roundheads were the parliamentarians, and then the Cavaliers were the Royalists. Woody Harrelson. Okay, so yeah, that's June 1st celebrates all those things. What's the top 10? What's the top 3? What's the most important of all those things? I don't know. Eventually I'll have to, come up with the top 18. So if you're like, hey, these things were more important, you didn't mention this and you didn't mention that. Or, God, why'd you put that so far up on the list? Or why'd you put that so far down on the list? So, the Heimlich maneuver. Let's go, one by one. June 1st, 1974. The Heimlich maneuver. How many people have, how many lives have been saved because of the Heimlich maneuver? Well, the Heimlich maneuver was published in the Journal Emergency Medicine. So, the Heimlich maneuver is just a maneuver, it's just a process. But in 1974, it's, handed out its information, given out to the public, just like Aaron Swartz wanted all of us to do. Right? So the Heimlich maneuver saves a lot of people. That came out June 1st, 1974. The Journal Emergency Medicine in 1845. So this is when they used homing pigeons, but this just shows you that you have pigeons shitting all over. You can turn those pigeons into homing pigeons, New York. They completed, one homing pigeon in 1845 completed an 11,000-kilometer trip from Namibia to London, all the way where Louise Adams, the first lady that was born outside of America, the second first lady born outside of America, Melania Trump the first, was John Quincy Adams' wife. She was born in London. So that's where Louise Adams was born. Homing pigeons, right? So homing pigeons, I feel like that's a science, that's a neglected science. We got cell phones today, but you never know, right? If shit goes haywire and all the electronics are cut off, you might need a homing pigeon to get, a long-distance message carried out. So I talked about Max Stern. He's born today, 1905, June 1st, as scientist Max Stern, safe, effective, responsible vaccine against anthrax. If you guys got your anthrax vaccine, why the fuck not? You should get every goddamn vaccine that's out here for every... Why would you... don't... Give me every vaccine that's out here. Every single fucking one of them. This one's been out. I didn't even know about it, so I don't... Shit, I could get, the anthrax with the mail and the... shit. This could... Fuck. I need to get myself a vaccine against anthrax. Bacillus anthracis is very large gram-positive spore-forming rod. The Stern strain of Bacillus anthracis produces sublethal amounts of the toxin that induce formation of a protective antibody. It's what a lot of vaccines do. They give you a small amount of the actual disease itself, or a alternative. They got rid of smallpox by giving you cowpox. So, yeah, they said it's responsible, effective, safe, Max Stern. So anyways, if you die, if your loved ones die of anthrax, that could have been prevented because there's a vaccine out there for anthrax. Cambodia, I already talked about national, so go plant some trees, plant some pine trees, some choke cherry trees, whatever trees. Just plant some goddamn trees, motherfuckers. Shit. Some apple, be like Johnny Appleseed. Now, I do want to expand on Marilyn Monroe. Why am I Melania? Where's my mind? Why am I thinking? Because Melania is such a piece of shit. Melania is complicit. She is not a prisoner. Melania is doing exactly what she wants, and she's getting exactly what she wants. She is vapid. She is myopic. She doesn't give a shit about anybody or, anyone. She only cares about herself. She goes, she's the most bullied, abused person in the entire world. I thought Hillary Clinton was the most abused person. I thought Donald was the most abused person. And actually, Jesus got, physically abused. But, people talk about Melania. She's not getting, abused like Jesus got abused. So, Marilyn Monroe was born today, right? Also, Morgan Freeman, Heidi Klum, Alanis Morissette. And, I like them, but Marilyn fucking Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, she is an icon. She's not a commodity. She's a woman. She's a person. She was a human spirit on this planet. And because she died young, she'll stay forever young. She was breaking the boundaries. She was orphaned, so she was ours. She was America's. And she was, she's got so many quotes. So when I compare Marilyn Monroe to Jackie O is dog shit. Jackie O helped Kennedy's legacy, I guess, after he got shot and shit, and maybe she was smart. Marilyn Monroe is a fucking genius. She is a fucking genius. Marilyn Monroe still has power that carries on today. Marilyn Monroe is timeless. So when you go, you see James Dean and Marilyn Monroe, these fucking portraits. James Dean and his, Rebel Without a Cause, just don't give a fuck, and his, men doing their hair all pretty and shit. It changed the game. It changed the game. So Marilyn Monroe said, she said a lot of things that, off the top of my head, if, I did all these, so, but, she says she doesn't mind being, living in a man's world as long as she can be a woman in it. I think that's equal and fair. I wouldn't mind being a man in a woman's world as long as I get to be a man in this woman's world. Sure, that's fine. That's fantastic. Still get to be a man, you still get to be a woman. That's, that's fantastic. So I want to read a bunch of her quotes, but I guess ultimately what I'm trying to say is JFK and RFK, they fucked up. They both fucked up. Because they didn't embrace Marilyn Monroe. JFK should have divorced Jackie O. Who the fuck is Jackie O? She's dick riding off of JFK. Who's Marilyn Monroe? She's a woman who established herself. She's a self-made woman. She's, fantastic. So Marilyn Monroe is talking about nuclear disarmament or not proliferation, stopping it, right? Stemming the proliferation of nuclear weapons. Smart stuff. And I want to read you all these quotes just to give you a sense. People could say anything one minute and say the next thing the next minute, but there does seem to be a smart, living spirit within Marilyn Monroe. So, Marilyn Monroe quotes, "Imperfection is beauty, madness is genius, And it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. Oh, you're an absolutely boring piece of shit. There's a guy named Curtains. He used to do his hair, and it was like, oh, Curtains. What a nickname. But there was nothing to the guy. There was nothing to the guy. He was absolutely boring. So it's like, hey, you're being absolutely ridiculous. Well, okay, you want to harness the spirit and guide me in a better direction, or you just being a judgmental fucking cunt, prick, dick, hole, prick, shit, prick. Marilyn Monroe quotes, if you can make a woman laugh, you can make her do anything. Fear is stupid, and so is regrets. Dogs never bite me, just humans. I restore myself when I'm alone. It's all make-believe, isn't it? I don't mind living in a man's world as long as I can be a woman in it. It's not true. I had nothing on. I had the radio on. It's better to be unhappy alone than unhappy with someone else so far. I don't forgive people because I'm weak. I forgive them because I'm strong enough to know people make mistakes. Now, there was one quote that I wrote here, something about suicide, right? She had said that you can, when you're young and healthy, you can plan on Monday to commit suicide, and by Wednesday, you're laughing again. So when you're young, you're resilient, and it doesn't matter, right? So on Monday, you're like, fuck it, this is it. It's all she wrote. I'm going to have to check out, take the last train ticket, walk up the stairway of heaven. This is it. This is the El Finito. So to commit suicide, it seems like a cry for help, okay? I don't know if Marilyn was killed or if she, had took too many drugs. I think equal. Both of them are equally possible. For some reason, Marilyn Monroe did piss a lot of people off, and she internalized a lot of the criticisms that was leveled against her. Instead of getting mad at the person who's, shitting on her, she internalized it, and so there was a lot of sadness. And so that quote kind of says that, like, who the fuck is planning suicide on Monday? Most people, it crosses everybody's mind at some point in time, but to plan on it, planning means there's, that's a malicious intent. You should be thrown in jail for attempted murder. It's when you're young and healthy, you can plan on Monday to commit suicide. That's weird. That's a weird quote. Oh, you know how it is. When you're young, you plan killing yourself on Monday, but then by Wednesday, it's all good. You want to kill yourself? Like, she was, another thing I think is awesome about Marilyn Monroe, she did go to an orphanage. She lived in a bunch of foster houses. She lived in an orphanage for, some amount of time in a bunch of foster homes, and then at 16 years of age, she gets married. During World War II, she was born in 1926, which means Marilyn Monroe would be 94 years old today. But because she died young and she broke all those boundaries, she is the quintessential woman. She's the American woman, the American way. Why is America great? Because we got fucking Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was fantastic. She was fantastic. Just almost too good, too nice for her own good. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, she's very humble. She was working in a factory during World War II, married at 16, going through an orphanage. She's a regular person. She's an average American who said, you know what, I'm going to dress sexy, dye my hair blonde, and just be very sexy and sensual, and then sing, and she was funny. So she was the blonde bombshell who made a bunch of, wisecracks, and she was hilarious. It doesn't seem like it's that hard of a business model to copy. And she was one of the first ones to, really, jump on it and blew up. Marilyn Monroe blew the fuck up, set the world on fire, and she'll set the world on fire until the day she's died. As long as people, are all about, oh my God, oh my God, she showed not just her ankles, right? She didn't just show her shoulders and her ankles, but she has that iconic, right, where the dress is blown up and she's, oh, no, you can't see not my vagina, no, ooh. And if you watch that movie, 7 Year Itch, which is about divorce, if you watch that movie, 7 Year Itch, you just see nothing. So actually, Marilyn Monroe, her life and her personality and who she was, her humanness, was larger than the movies that she was making. So yeah, Marilyn Monroe is just fantastic. She's one of us. She's average American. JFK should have dumped Jackie O. Married Marilyn Monroe. Was the Kennedys involved in her death? Was it just depression and sadness? There does seem to be, but she has a reason to be sad. I mean, shit, how many people lied to her? How many people fucked her over? And she's, fucking gorgeous. She's changing the whole game, changing the entire world, how the entire world looks at each other, how humanity looks at ourselves. She changed it all. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Sometimes good things fall apart so better things can fall together. I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. A strong man doesn't have to be dominant toward a woman. He doesn't match his strength against a woman's weakness with love for him. He matches it against the world. He doesn't say, hey, woman, you're so weak and look how strong I am. He says, hey, woman, because you're weak and you love me so much, my love for you is bigger and better than the entire world. That's what Marilyn Monroe wanted. She said dreaming about being an actress is actually better than being one. You believe lies, so eventually you learn to trust no one but yourself. I live to succeed, not to please you or anyone else. I have feelings too. I'm still a human. All I want is to be loved for myself and for my talents. It is better to be hated for what you are than to be loved for what you are not. A friend tells you what you want to hear, but a best friend tells you the truth. I've never fooled anyone. I've let people fool themselves. They didn't bother to find out who I was and what I was. Instead, they would invent a character for me. And I wouldn't argue with them, but they were obviously loving somebody that I was not. They created a character for me to be. They wanted me to be somebody else than who I actually was. So she's saying, always be yourself. Retain your individuality. Listen to the truest part of yourself. It's nice to be included in people's fantasies, but you also like to be accepted for your own sake. Sweetie, if you're going to be two-faced, at least make one of them pretty. Sweetie, if you're going to be two-faced, at least make one of them pretty. Be real, be yourself, be unique, be true, be honest, be humble, be happy. I would like to show that I can get publicity without using my ass or getting fired from a picture. She's getting fired from Hollywood movies. Well, you're fired, Marilyn Monroe. You're fired. Get the hell out of here. Without using her ass. Her ass is kind of what made her. So, you know what? Just because she walks in a room and she has an ass, right, and she shakes it and she's got a gait. I mean, George W. Bush said it was a swagger, right? So if you're a woman, you got some swagger. You know, you're shaking your ass. Maybe you're doing it to get someone's attention. Maybe you're just doing it because that's who you are. Who gives a shit? It's good for everybody, I guess. Your clothes should be tight enough to show you're a woman, but loose enough to show you're a lady. It's like a story should be as long as a skirt, long enough to cover everything, but short enough to be interesting. That was Erickson, Miss Erickson, 8th grade. So, your clothes should be tight enough to show you're a woman, but loose enough to show you're a lady. I want to grow old without facelifts. I want to have the courage to be loyal to the face I have made. That's kind of sad because she dies, right, something 20, 30 years old. And she was born in 1929, which means she would have been 94 years old today. In 6 years, it's 2020, in 6 years, 2026, she's going to be, that would be a 100-year-old Marilyn Monroe. What would Marilyn Monroe look at 100 years? What could have Marilyn Monroe have done for the world? I mean, my God, she rode on the crest of the wave for such a long time. If she had good advice and she had people that she could confide in that could, help her organize, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? So she says that she wouldn't have got facelifts, right? You have all these people in Hollywood getting all this shit done to their face, but yet, Marilyn Monroe was like, you know what? I'm going to be loyal to the face that, I have made, my life and my, whatever face I've been making, if I've been cringing, and now it's all, that's the face I made. That's the face that I got to stick with. If you can't handle me at my worst, then you don't deserve me at my best. Fucking love that quote. Thank you, Marilyn Monroe. I don't know how bad your worst is, as long as, like, not attempted murder or some shit. But that's fantastic, because people do act stupid and nasty, and people are awful. People are shitty. But once we acknowledge that we're shitty, then we can grow. We can grow. Look, people, we fuck up. We make mistakes. You want people to act right and behave right. But you let people grow, right? You let people go ahead. So, yeah. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Good job, Marilyn Monroe. I don't remember, did Melania? Oh, be best. That's Melania's quote. There isn't anybody who likes me without clothes on. Oh, no, wait. There isn't anybody who looks like me who likes me. There's nobody who likes me. Can you put your clothes on? Shit. There isn't anybody who looks like me without clothes on. And you know why Marilyn Monroe is the quintessential woman? She does show that a woman's body, all women's bodies, maybe all human bodies are just like a fingerprint. All human bodies are different. And she says there's nobody else that looked like her when she was naked. So, yeah, there's something about being a commodity. She didn't think of herself as a commodity. So, yeah, there's some Marilyn Monroe quotes. How far are we into this? Well, shit, we about to finish the damn thing. There's an Italian archaeologist published Verona Illustrata, build a museum. Marchese Francesco Scipione Maffei, 1675. George A. Bartholomew, scientist, 1919. June 1st, he was born, studied desert organisms. June 1st, 2001, the Crown Prince Dipendra of Nepal got sick of the royal family's bullshit, and the royal family of Nepal, and he was just sick of the king and the queen, everybody telling him, not taking him serious, and so at a family reunion, the Crown Prince Dipendra, he just massacred the shit out of everybody. He just he just massacred the fuck out of everybody. Killed the king and the queen in Nepal, which were his mother and father. Uncle would eventually take over. 7 years later, the Republic of Nepal is going to be actualized. The uncle king is going to abdicate. And so now this Dipendra of Nepal, now he's got a name. Now the Crown Prince Dipendra, without this, tragic, horrible thing, perhaps the monarchy would have never just walked away, on its own. And now Nepal is a republic. Now Nepal is a republic. So, you could say this was good or bad, this specific incident, but the after effects were good for Nepal. The Nepalese royal massacre, Dipendra in Nepal shoots and kills several members of his family, slips into a 3-day coma after he shoots himself, and then he dies. So actually the Crown Prince Dipendra was king for 3 days, right? You shoot the king, then you become the king. Fantastic rules, right? This makes hereditary fucking kingship makes so much sense, right? Oh, I've had a son. If only I had a son, and now my son will take over and carry my name and legacy on. Ugh, now you just killed me. So then I should not have a son. Wait, I want a son? Because you had a lot of the kings and queens who couldn't even have kids, and there was a war, the Spanish Succession. Well, the Spanish king died. Who's next? There is no next. Well, fuck it. Let's all just fight for that power. There's a vacuum. That's what that means. Now there's a vacuum. And somebody we need some other Hitler to come up to fill, Charles V is. So the war of Spanish Succession. You didn't have a son, there is no, kingdom. But if you have a son, that motherfucker can knock you out. It's, catch-22. You're damned. If you do, you're damned. If you don't. 1897, a rock wool factory in the U.S. opens. Crystal Chemical Works opened in Alexandria, Indiana. 1951, titanium plant was opened. Henderson, Nevada, converted titanium ore into titanium sponge. And then metal. Then 1946, Ion Antonescu. Romania's El Dulce is killed. So the guy, the leader, the president, prime minister of Romania during World War II is going to be executed for his war crimes because he sided with the Nazis in World War II, ran a tyrannical dictatorship, and got exactly